Hey everybody, my name is Jim Farmer. I'm the festival director of Out on Film. This is our 34th year of bringing these stories for, by, and about our community and its allies. This is our first hybrid festival, meaning that we have some screenings in cinema. We also have some screenings virtual as well. And one of our most popular shorts that we've screened so far has been Qorma. And we're very fortunate to have the director of the film with us today, Faraz Arif Ansari, who will be able to answer some questions about it, and we'll talk a little bit. So thanks for joining us
Thank you
today.
so much. Thank you so much for having me, Jim. It's an honor, and I'm really privileged that Qorma is playing at Out on Film. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. I'm so happy that we're showing this film. I know that you made the film a while ago, correct?
We actually shot it in 2019, and we were
Wow.
supposed to do the festival circuit through 2020. We were supposed to premiere at BFI Flair in London, and
Mhm.
a day prior to my flight to London, India went into a total lockdown.
Yeah.
So it was pretty hard because we had to literally wait out for an entire year.
Yeah.
But then we kind of had more time to relook at the edit and change the music a little bit and do some sound design and all of that. And finally, the film started its journey in June 2021 at
Sure.
Frameline. So it's been very exciting. We actually premiered in June, and so far we have won 21 international awards
Oh wow.
in a very short span of time. And of course, we've qualified for BAFTA
Mhm.
this year, and fingers crossed we qualify for the Academy very soon.
So when was the first time that you saw the film with an audience?
Oh geez, I think I still haven't really seen the film with an audience. I
Oh
mean,
wow.
everything has been virtual, so it's always been these virtual experiences that we've been having. But finally, next week I will be experiencing the film in America in Dallas at a film festival. So I think that'll be my first time in a theater with an audience.
Oh
So
nice.
pretty stoked about that.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Jim.
For those of you out there, some of you may have already seen the Drama Shorts program. Some of you might not have, but Sure Korma is part of a wonderful program we have as part of our Drama Shorts this year. So I just want to ask you, well, just tell us a little bit. How did this film come up for you?
I was at Harvard University in
Mhm.
2019 with my earlier film Ursasak, which
Yes.
actually won at your festival,
Yes.
and I was asked a question by an audience member. They said, "Where are the queer women? We always see the queer men. Where are the queer women? Where are the non-binary folks? And what happens to our stories? Nobody's telling our stories." And I said, well, that's a very valid point, and I need to, perhaps as a storyteller who comes from a minority, who comes from a underrepresented part of the LGBTQI spectrum, I feel being a person of the color is already, you're playing on a very limited field
Mhm.
in terms of opportunities and access. And I said, if I have this opportunity to make a film, my second film after Sisak, I said, let it be more inclusive. I wanted it to be more inclusive. So I think it really started out with the fact that, there is a part of the queer spectrum that is really underrepresented and often at times misrepresented. I think people of the color, especially queer people of the color, are almost limited, in our visibility in global cinema. And I feel that being a queer person of the color, I feel that it is my responsibility as a storyteller to bring out my story in the mainstream. And I think that really started off the journey of Sheer Korma. And, I mean, it really started at Harvard University, sitting
Sure.
in a question and answer round, with a, a bunch of very excited, very motivated young folks. So that's where the idea was born. But of course, it took me a while to sort of write the film and then
Yeah.
find the right producers to make it, because I think making queer films that are very mainstream in their access and look and appeal, it still is a bit of a task back home. We don't really find access, we don't really find producers and investors and so on and so forth. So it did take us some while, but fortunately we have some of the finest actors of Indian cinema in Sheer Korma. We have Shabana Azmi, who
Yeah.
is a five-time national award winner. She's going to be in Steven Spielberg's next film, from what I
Nice.
imagine.
It's amazing.
So yeah, and of course we have Divya Datta and Swara Bhaskar, both national and international award winners in their own rights. So I think we really lucked out, in terms of the casting of this film, because back home everyone's super excited. In America,
Mhm.
especially the South Asian community is very excited because they've never really seen a queer film with such big actors in that sense.
Mhm.
So really breaking some boundaries as far as casting is concerned with this one.
Okay. So were there, I mean, were there, did you have any inspiration for some of the characters, or were some of the characters inspired by real life people, or?
Yeah, actually, I did meet. I think that's the beauty of cinema.
Mhm.
That there are so many life experiences that find
Sure.
their way into the stories we tell, the stories that we create through our cinema. And I think Sheer is an amalgamation of many stories, many experiences that I've had as a queer person of the color. And also, I think being from the Muslim community, I feel that. Muslims across, global media have been represented in a absolutely horrific light. And I wanted to change that representation. I wanted to bring forward a progressive representation of a Muslim community, a family that I come from. I mean, I'm really tired of, even back home, we have a majoritarian regime which is killing minorities day in and day out. And being from the minority, I feel that very deeply. And I wanted to change that narrative as well. So I think it really stems from something very deeply personally felt through the
Mhm.
years of my growing up in India
Sure.
and now being a filmmaker. So I think there are so many things that I wanted to, rewrite, in terms of what one knows of and what one is aware of. I think change those things, or twist them on their heads in terms of not just gender, not just sexuality, but I think also about faith, one's faith, because faith plays such an important part in the film. Especially
Exactly.
through the mother's eyes. So I wanted to, and I think all of us, we have a very intricate relationship between our sexualities and our faith. Something we don't really want to talk about most often, but I think with Shir Korma, I'm trying to open up a leaf in that sense.
Sure. For us, how important is it for you to tell these kind of stories, and really to, how important is LGBTQ representation for you as a filmmaker?
I live for it. I breathe it, and there is no other way. I think there is no other thing that comes to me more naturally. I think other than breathing, it would be to tell queer film. To get to tell queer stories and to make queer
Mhm.
films. And I think it stems from the fact that there has been zero representation back home, and
Sure.
whatever representation existed was absolutely problematic and
Hmm.
deeply regressive. And I think I wanted to change that narrative. So I think it's imperative, when one has an opportunity. Being a filmmaker is really, I think, it's a matter of absolute privilege. That you're really trying to get a platform to tell your tale to people you'll never ever meet across the globe.
Hmm.
Sheer Korma has gone to places I have never been to personally in my
Exactly.
life. So I think that access that you get, I think it's so beautiful. And I think it also reminds us that our responsibilities as a storytellers, and especially being a queer storyteller, there is so much of culture that really one can really put forward. I think
Hmm.
because most of the time a queer culture does get westernized in that sense. You never really get
Sure.
authentic rooted stories coming from various parts of the world. So I think with Sheer Korma, I'm trying to also, push that narrative out there.
Exactly. So our patrons are familiar with your work, as you mentioned, because Sisig was an award-winning film at our festival several years ago. Can you talk about the importance of that film? Because that film, got you a lot of attention, and it played all over the world. Can you talk about how that accelerated your career?
To be honest, Jim, when I decided to make Sisak, I had zero support. I had to sell my car. I had to
Oh,
put my
wow.
apartment on rent. I had to move it back with my parents because I didn't have a place to live. Because nobody wanted to produce Sisak. They said, A, it's a queer film, and then it's a silent film. They're
Yeah.
like, who is going to watch this film? Nobody's going to watch it. And it went to over 350 film festivals, and it
Wow.
actually became the first ever Indian film to win 60 international awards. So it really broke records in that sense. But and all it took was 30 seconds of courage on my part to be like, let's sell the car, let's put the apartment on rent. If I really believe in this, I really need to put my money where my mouth is, or where my heart is in this matter. And that's what I did. And I'm just it's been, gosh, Sasak started this journey in 2017, and we are still traveling to film festivals even now as we speak. It's
Mhm.
playing at the Queer X Film Festival, and it's just it's exciting, it's exciting to see that something that was conceived, right here in my heart and soul is
Mhm.
resonating with so many people across the globe. It's just phenomenal. It blows my mind out at times, to be able to perceive it and to just sit back and take it all in. I mean, how wonderful that feeling is. It's very hard to really describe it in words.
Oh, congratulations. So now you were in The Advocate recently, weren't you? I
Yes.
was sort of reading about
Finally.
that. Finally, man. Congratulations. You're all over
Thank
the
you.
place, aren't you?
Thank you. Oh, yeah. I think I think I think Jim. I think the way to look at it, or the way I look at it, is that when you work from your heart, when you make honest,
Mhm.
realistic content, which is rooted deep from within your soul, it does not come from a place of commerce in that sense. It truly comes from a place of healing. It comes from a place of love. It
Mhm.
comes from a place of acceptance that the
Sure.
world needs right now, given the world that we're living in. I think it has some magic, that it really does. And all these, wonderful opportunities and wonderful, magazine front cover pages and this and that. I think it's all a chain reaction of that thing, really. When you give out really good vibes, you
Mhm.
get good vibes in return. That's how the universe works, and that is something I truly believe in. You give good juju, you get good juju. So just giving good juju in the universe and hoping it comes back sometime.
It is so well deserved. Okay, final question. What's next for you and what's next for Qorma?
Jeez, what's next for me? So, feature film. I think it's about time to
Oh, nice.
dive deep. I have actually two queer feature films that I am currently working on. One happens to be a queer children's film.
Hmm.
I feel that is so unexplored. I think
Oh,
being a
nice.
child and their sexuality while they're growing up, that's one. And the
Hmm.
other happens to be an out and out road trip romance between a bisexual man and a non-binary person, and it's based in India, so it's going to be really exotic looking because we're exploring some beautiful locales across India. And but interestingly enough, although it is a road trip romance, it actually deals with something that we often don't really want to talk about. It deals with the in-betweens. It
Hmm.
deals with what happens between something really impactful and the other, something that was really impactful. What happens between that? What happens between the words that we speak? What happens between the silences? And it really is about the heart of a heartbreak, to be honest.
Hmm.
And it brings forward many deeply rooted prejudices that queer folks face back home, but in a new sort of format. So it's almost before sunrise meets before sunset, but lost in translation.
Okay.
If I have to give you a very, a very, a westernized explanation, but that's really where the film
You
is.
sold
And
that very well. I already want to see it. So yeah, I'll look for that.
and
Look
and
for
and
the
if all goes well, I might be in front of the camera for that one. So
nice.
yeah, so I'm really trying to do something that I believe in. And with Sheer Korma, of course, we hopefully, our journey so far has been, we've been to over 50 film festivals across the
Okay.
globe,
Hmm.
and we would be traveling until the end of 2022. We plan to go over 350 film festivals, from what I imagine and understand, and then after that, hopefully, find its forever home on a global OTT platform and make
Nice.
the film available for the world to watch.
Exactly. That is amazing. Congratulations on all the wonderful news you've had the last couple of years. The
Thank you
film is
so
Sure
much.
Korma. It is part of our drama shorts program, and it's an extraordinary film. All of our programs, all of our shorts in that program are extraordinary. Thank you so much, Faraz, for talking to us today.
Thank you so much, Jim. It's been such a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Catch up with you soon.